Tuesday, we know how we do it on Tuesdays. We like to talk about things that are matters of discourse and try to shed some light and exchange notes, as it were, so that you learn, we learn, society learns, everybody learns. And of course, to help us with that conversation, we have Roberta. Roberta Bobby.
Niaje.
Uko sawa?
How are you?
I am super.
Sema sikulizangi how you are.
Thank you very much. I'm very fine. Thank you. Nimesikia vizuri. This is how people feel, eh? Mnasikianga hivi nikuuliza. CJ, how are you?
Very well. Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Mambo iko salama?
Totally.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure you're a happy man, football and otherwise. Shatter boy.
Bazu.
I'm sure you're not a happy man, but other than that.
Other than us, no, I'm happy. Shazoea.
Yes.
Why were we expecting anything different?
It's a problem.
Oh, man.
Whatever we got is what we expected.
Yes. Amusumbuangi Mungu.
Na wewe uko sawa?
Mimi niko rien.
Uko waambaji. Anafaa kuambia waambaji.
Basi sina la kuamba. Wapokea salamu kwa watu wote wale wa Mombasa, pale watu wa Kilifi, pale watu wa Marindi, pale wanapenda Citizen TV. Ushaelewa, wanatazama, wanaona, wanashughulikia.
Kazi kuntu.
Kazi mufti. Well, today we want to talk about a very interesting topic here. It's a phrase that has been thrown around, toxic masculinity. When they say things like, my toxic masculinity cannot allow, or stuff like that. Oh, survive pink. Oh, be a man. Oh, boys will be boys. Things of that nature. But before we define it in terms of according to the journal of let's take a definition kind of session and start with you, Robert. What do you think about how would you define toxic masculinity?
According to me, toxic masculinity is whereby men, rather boys, are forced to have to separate logic from emotion. Let me explain. Where, you know, to be a man, you're told to be a man, you have to be strong and you have to use your head and you have to be better than anyone else. So it keeps men in this loop where they're constantly in competition with each other. And then they refuse to use the emotional side of in any decisions they make. So it gets toxic because it doesn't allow men to be able to just exist in their own emotions. And it can be in simple things as mwanaume unabeba umbrella. Na kunanyesha. Ati mimi afadhali ninyeshewe. Or these memes. Did you see the meme where the guy ako kwa pikipiki but afadhali achomeke mikono than ashikilie umse.
Oh, the other guy.
You know, it's small things like that, but it definitely graduates. It definitely graduates into, you know, bigger decisions, but those are the minor funny examples that we laugh at. But it stops being funny at some point.
Yeah, it's those small things, I guess, are small expressions of bigger sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right. CJ, what do you think about it?
Basically, just the ideology of masculinity that becomes harmful to you and eventually to the other people as well. Yeah.
So if harmful to you first.
Yes.
But I don't know. Sorry, before I go to Shatter, when you say it becomes harmful to you, then to other people, I think, and I might be wrong, that most of the time it becomes harmful to other people first before you realizing it was harmful to you. Like you sort of project.
Well, by the time you're projecting, you know, the harm that it's causing to you may not be very visible.
Okay.
It's harming you on the inside,
right,
either mentally or emotionally. And that's why you project it, because you cannot project what you don't have.
Right.
For example, if you are always angry with people, there must be anger on the inside of you first. You can't separate that from who you are. And holding that anger in order to project it hurts you, because it means that you can't just enjoy life. You know, you can't just be at peace with yourself. You cannot easily let go of certain things. Probably somebody would even say something on a light note. But yeah, because you have so much anger on the inside of you, you explode. So it is denying you the opportunity to relate, to just relax, to have fun, even just by yourself. And you know, it takes a lot of weight to carry things like anger. It takes a lot of weight.
Here's a picture, I'll share it, or did I share it already? Somebody showed how it is to walk around with anger, grief, and all these things, and it was like a wireframe full of stones. That's how heavy it looked in terms of a picture. Just to paint that picture for you. Shatterboy, what do you...
Nisila. A weapon.
Ambayo, yeah.
Actually, that is a weapon against men.
Yeah.
It is a weapon in the sense that first, it will be used against you. That people will make sure you don't become who you are by throwing that word at you. So when you want to express yourself in certain ways. And again, being in that situation prevents you from living your life to the fullest. Unapata. So basically it is a weapon against a man. Yeah.
All right, well, like I said, according to the Journal of the School of Psychology, it says that it is a constellation of socially regressive, this is masculine traits, that serve to foster domination and devaluation of women and violence. And then in modern society, people use the term toxic masculinity to describe exaggerated masculine traits that many cultures have widely accepted and glorified. So I want to use those two words, accepted and glorified. So as much as you said that, you know, those, you know, like you had one supporter here, ukasema ati usishike mtu anduthi, akasema okay, yeah, I get that, I relate. You know, ni sawa, ni sawa. So how do you feel it comes to become widely accepted?
So what happens is that when we're kids, when we're growing up, we know love and we know friendship and we're able to express this. But mostly when boys get to the age of 12 to 14 is when they start to notice there's a difference, and they hold back on showing love because the society equates when men love each other to gayness. So we start internalizing this and we normalize it and we accept it. So any form of softness or love or any just sort of emotion coming from a man is deemed as not correct. So what happens is that in the society, ukiendelea vitu ndogo tu kaizi, they grow and then now it becomes your whole identity. So you're unable to tell the difference between masculinity and toxic masculinity. So it's not something that we all grow up with in the society, but it's been ingrained into us. And I'd say it stems from patriarchy, like you read, the thing for dominance and violence and everything. It's just what we instill in these kids, and then now they grow up, they're unable to. By the time a boy is 18, you can't even tell your bro, I love you. You have to say, no homo.
Yeah, I love you.
So, relation ya, love na, all that, where is it coming from? It's just what we are seeing in the society. We zoea it. And the more it grows, the more it just gets toxic, and then we just normalize it and tunazoea. If you read a little bit on social, emotional development, you'd see that our basic need as human beings is love. Everyone wants love. Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to give love. But in such a society, we tend to hold back. And it's something we do, like even our mothers, it comes from our mothers and our parents and everyone. This thing for telling boys, you're grown, be strong, usilie, nyamaza, wanaume awali, sijui nini. You know, you don't think about the long-term effects of this situation that you're teaching your 4-year-old kid now, but it actually gets toxic as we go. So I'd say that it's just a thing we grow. It's not something we are born with. It's something that we learn in the society. Yeah.
And when you talk about being a man, I know we've talked about it a lot. Why is it, I don't know, is it society or instilling that people view stuff like when I show emotion, people will say, that's unmanly. When I do something or circumstance, watch your mama. And I always ask, okay, so is it that your mothers do this, or why do you all of a sudden when you're attacking somebody with that phrase, forget that you have mothers, you have sisters, you have aunties at least? So, you know, how did we get to, you know, such a point where some weaknesses is yunia madam?
Well, it's just that when people have a skewed view of themselves, they will pull down everybody.
This is male or female?
Everybody. Anybody. So by the time you find a man speak down women, he has insecurities, low self-esteem. When you respect yourself, you have absolutely no fear respecting somebody else. Same way, if you feel that you're doing well, you have no problem complimenting somebody else. It is people who doubt themselves and second guess themselves and have low self-esteem that will find it very difficult to compliment somebody else, appreciate the other person. So all that you see, you know, watch your mama and all of that, it's people hiding their own insecurities. Sometimes they're not doing as well as they want to. Or they cannot show the side of them that somebody else is showing. So they will attack it. Not because what that person is doing is wrong, but they are not confident enough to do that. So they do not know. They want to pretend like they're in charge of their lives. So they want to make it look like, I don't do that because I don't want, I can't do that. But the truth is, they would, if they could. If they see, for example, a man showing love to a woman, and they will criticize that, if they could, they would. But because they're not in that position, they will look like they're attacking that. It's like a poor person trying to make it look like, or rather somebody who's a bit incapacitated financially for reasons beyond them, trying to act like, you know what, I just choose to live a humble life. It's not that they've chosen to live a humble life. It's the circumstances.
Yes, that's there.
And so they can attack somebody who seems to be doing well just to cover up for the fact that they can't do what that person is doing. So those are matters of insecurities.
Shatta, you've always talked about that here in terms of growing up, and you said sasa ni sisi who are supposed to now, who will bear that responsibility to try to change the perception of our children. But how do we do this na sisi wenyewe we are broken?
First of all, leo nitakuwa devil's advocate.
Leo tu. Leo peke yake. Ama kila uchao.
Ama kila uchao. Unaona watu fanya hizi vitu, mimi sidhani wanajuanga wakifanya. Una get like kama mtu kuja kuambia wacha umama, most of them don't know what they are doing. Haifanyagi juu maybe ana could despise or anything. It is just that it is nature for them. Hivyo ndo wamegrow. Unaelewa? Na pia mostly ni wanaume tu. Unapataga dunia imekutandika huku nje, imekupatia ile character development that ukiona kijana mdogo akigrow unaanza tu already kumharden bila atakuja kukua kwa maisha. Unaona, you know it's this society is unforgiving to a boy child. Unaelewa? So you try harden this boy child from akiwa mdogo until the society changes now ikuwe forgiving to the boy child. Because for example umeuliza ukasema weaknesses zingine ni za zinasociated na madem, si ndio? Hakuna weakness iko associated na mwanaume. If you tend big, if dem aanze kulia hapa saa hii it will appear normal. Unaona? Wewe ukibreak down hapa itakaa ni abnormal. Unaelewa? So hawa tuambia vijana wewe acha umama. Harden up nini? It is a way of living. That is how it has been. Una get? So I don't think they do it deliberately to hurt you. Others do it to help you. They think they're helping you. You see? Ushaona situation
Asema boy wetu anaenda through nini?
Huyu
wrong path. Let's passion ndo arudi kwa
kurudisha kwa mahali. Huyu ni nini amekuwa kwa mpole hivi. So wanakuja kukupasha thinking they're helping you. Unaelewa?
So if but then that sio inakani kama it'll just be a cycle then.
We say, Willis, what Shatta is talking about, they may not know. Them not knowing does not change the fact that they are insecure, that they are broken. It's just like you could be unwell and not know that you are not well. So somebody has to tell you that the reason why you are feeling the way you're feeling is because you're not well. That's why guys go for medical checkup, you know, because sometimes you'll go to the doctor and say, I just have some temperature in the night or something. Then I say, let's check your body. You may not know, but it doesn't negate the fact that something is wrong.
But the society kuallow mwanaume kwenda check up.
Man, come on. First of all, if you get to a certain age, you need to go get your prostate checked. I don't know what, yani, that is one of the hardest. There's a time there was a WhatsApp group. We are kuencourageana. Hadi huko unaenda peke yako. Ukitakwenda unasema alright, tutaenda pamoja, tuchape line. The first person mwenye atakuwa hapo akiwika. I mean, it's interesting the kind of things that that go through. But I think My challenge is, especially now when all this stuff comes online, I think that's where it gets a lot of its expression. And I wouldn't name names because but I think that's where it gets a lot of it. And if you look at some of the threads and what people, I mean, even something as simple as a hairstyle like this one, you know, people will be like, wearing pink, or sharing whenever you become emotionally vulnerable. There's always that thing for other men specifically. Some will come in hiding the DM and say, thanks for sharing. But hapo nje, most of them will be like, ata mimi, equating what you've gone through with what they've gone through and then bringing it down because they're like, wanaume wafanyangi kitu. You know, even something as easy, as painful as death or losing a child, they're like, wanaume wafai kupigini, we tafuta mwingine, upea mimba. Life goes on. Yeah, so it's how do you deal with, especially online, that, you know, toxic masculinity? It seems to be just okay to talk.
The thing is, when people are behind the screen, they have crazy confidence, and in person they would never dare act like that. Like they would never face you and say all these things, because we are human beings. We all have emotions. We all feel these things. The start point has to be awareness. From what Shatta was talking about. Because if you don't know you have a problem, you can't work on it. You can't fix it. How I deal with social media is different because, Mimi, honestly, I don't care about what people's opinions are because I'm very confident in myself. I know what I stand for. I know how to express myself. But not many people are like that. But how I got here is I had to be aware. I had to know this is how I talk to my brother. When he comes to me to open up, this is how I accommodate him. I need to give him space, etc, etc, etc. Before that, I probably was like everyone else, and it was my normal. It's not that I was trying to do it to hurt people or whatever. It's just because I wasn't aware. So I'd say I love it when men stand up and speak out. I love it when men are confident enough to be able to be strong in their feminine energy and to just say, you know, kunai prostrate exam, why don't we just e-squad twende pamoja, you know, the encouragement, because once you reach out to one guy, he's going to talk to his friend and then his brothers, and then the whole squad will be in tune with whatever you guys are saying. So I'd say the best way to get rid of all this, I don't know if we can get rid of it or rather just to control it, is to have awareness. We need to speak about it. We need to talk about it. We need to research and have more information on all these things so that we're able to share information and be able to just have these conversations as openly. Men need to know that they are human beings, like I've said before on here. Before all these other roles that you have, before Sidri, you're a father, you're a Sidri ward, you're a fighter, you're a boxer. Before all these other things, where you're trying to be, you know, you're trying to show that you're strong and you come with protection and security and providence and all these things, you have to realize that you're a human being. And for any decision to make sense, you have to apply emotion and logic. That's why sometimes they don't choose women in leadership because they say, oh, you're too emotional, what. Emotion has to exist for you to, because you have to feel what you're thinking about for you to make a proper decision. So I just urge more men and more guys to have these conversations whereby it's okay for you to be yourself. If you love dressing in pink, it's okay. Anybody else's opinion of sijui pink ni ya mashoga ama pink sijui nini, that's their opinion and that's how they've been brought up. We can try and debunk this, but the best you can do is for yourself, be aware. Yeah.
Be aware. CJ, how can I who sees, I go online, right, and I see Shatta bashing somebody else, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a trait of toxic masculinity. How do I bring up that conversation with Shatta? How do men talk to men about ending some of these things?
Depends on the level of connection. It is difficult for you to reach out to somebody that you either are a stranger to or not connected to, with the view to try and have behavioral change. That happens even with people you're close to. See, whether you're dealing with your children, your siblings, you cannot bring correction if there's no connection. Somebody will feel attacked. They will feel you have no right to come into my life. So the first thing is to establish those connections, you know, and then understand what level what level of connection you have. That does it allow you to get into somebody's business? Can I call Shatter and say you're acting the fool without him feeling offended? Or even if he does, he doesn't doubt my intention.
Yes.
Because sometimes somebody will be offended, yes, but they know that you're looking out for them. So that's what somebody needs to establish. You see, why the things like all the talk online, why it's very messy, is because you have people who don't know you trying to talk about you. So even if their point was objective, the objectivity is lost in the fact that this person has never tried to establish anything with you, or they have never complimented anything else you did. Then they wait for the time when they think that you disagree, or they disagree with you.
Your point, yes.
That's when they show up. So even if what they were going to say was going to be helpful, already the environment has been muddied. So it is important for people to, establish the kind of relationships and connections that allow you to speak to one another.
And Shada, you talked about it being a weapon.
Yes.
Explain, and then
With the help of diagrams.
yes, with diagrams. Elongate.
Elongate with the help of diagrams. Unajua, hata tukikaa hapa tuongele the emotional part of it, that men need to be emotional and all. Hizo ni leaves za mti, kona very deep roots. A man is a machine according to society. You are built to work and provide. Sawa sawa, hiyo ndio ilikuwa setting yetu ya kitambo, that men were supposed to provide. Unaget? And a machine, imagine operating with an emotional machine. It breaks down today, hakuna kitu inafanyika. So men have been taught to ignore the emotional part in order to keep providing. Una feel I need a break, but a man does not need a break. You keep doing. Unaelewa? And when you go, and so the worst part about it is that people will only call it toxic when it affects them. But if it's you doing it, favoring them, for example, if you're not taking a break from work and you know kabisa you need this break, but your toxicity does not allow you to take that break, you feel I can do it, I will pull through. Unaelewa? So our complain, they are okay with it if it's favoring them.
Yes.
But the moment it starts not becoming a problem to them is when they highlight you. They start telling you you're toxic. Unaelewa? Why? Because you are built to work like that. So if we are to go back and now start breaking down this weapon that has been built, is to go back and show a man that, look, before you think about other people, you need to think about yourself. Unajua, a man that is actually working, unapataga mshahara and unajifikiriaga mtu wa mwisho. You think about other people with your salary, you think about kama ni wife na watu wazazi, ndugu zako. Yani unasort watu, alafu ile inabaki ndo unajifikiria. Unajiambia, sijalipa rent na do inaisha. Unaget? So first, to show a man that you need to think about yourself. First, jifikirie. Vile unafikiria watu wengine, kwanza jifikirie, alafu sasa ndo usaidie watu wengine. Unaona? That one needs to be laid down. Start thinking about yourself. What does thinking about yourself mean? You need a break from work. You need a vacation. Unaelewa?
Buy yourself something nice.
You need, yani utembee tu.
How many people can afford vacation?
Look, a vacation does not mean uende coast, you know?
Unaweza toka
tu hata uende ushago kwenyu. Kutoka tu Nairobi.
Upande tu
matatu uende ushago kwenyu.
Just a change of environment.
Na mtu asikusumbue. Ufike uende kwa soko, ukae, uangalie yani.
That's the two of you who've come from the coast talking to us.
After how long?
If you advise now.
First of all, cost for me was work.
Was work.
For him was the. Do you know how? What I hear story.
After how long?
After a very long time.
After a very long time.
Very long time.
Na niliforce actually.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I just wanted him to say that. He was told he has to
need to think about you.
Yes.
Unaget. So if I'm saying it from a point of experience that mwanaume anafaa kujifikiria. Hiyo nayo kwagi umepewa time ya kujifikiria. Kuna time nilikuwa nakwambia ukigrow unakuwa ukiwa na issue, you need ufike shule, maliza university, pata kazi, oa. So the moment you've married,
And in
start
that
thinking about
sequence.
your children, start thinking about your wife, start thinking about your parents. You have young siblings that are to no point do you think about yourself. And when you get a son, he gets in the same system.
But I think isn't it a delicate balance, because I think also the way, again, we are proponents, at least I know you and I don't know about Roberta and CJ, of the African culture. I mean, back in the day, we're coming up using history, we came up in a society where we saw that, you know, you're at home and you are living with your cousin, you're living with your somebody who you were told this one, their parents died, we took them in.
What are your uncles?
Your uncles
Wale
are there,
wale wadogo.
so you know, you see that just the same way you see toxic masculinity. You also see that my dad was taking care of all these people, so automatically ikifika kwa life yako, you want to, if something happens, you want to take up extra responsibility. So how do you then balance that, CJ? Because yes, we want, the African context is, it's trying to change now, but ideally we still are a village. Yeah, we're a community. So how do you become community and still take care of self?
I think first, let me say, you know, when Chada talks about how the man never takes care of himself,
Or
we
thinks of
also,
himself last.
yeah, you also need to give credit to the women, because it's very easy for a man to disconnect even from the children in a family setup, but for the woman that just cannot happen. They really give themselves as well. So generally then everybody seems not to take care of themselves. How many women can actually take a break and just leave the children and go away, even for 3 days? I mean, if I'm left with the kids for 1 day, the other day we were basking out, it's not even that my wife had traveled, she was just around. She'd actually gone to do her hair. And so we were texting her the whole time. Texting her like,
Mom, what we gonna eat? Mom, where you at?
but I can go away for a week and she will be fine with us. So we need to give credit as well that women really, really, really do give themselves.
I think you should say some.
Emotionally,
Yeah.
physically, and in every way.
Yeah,
you
yes,
know, they do. Talking about the balance, it is understanding your limits. It's just understanding your limits. Like, how much can I do without breaking me? And then learning to say no in spaces where you feel you just can't do that. No one person can solve everybody's problem. So you'll always sometimes, if you're this kind of person who loves to help people, you will feel guilty sometimes. As Roberta said, you've got to learn certain things. Saying no is something that you need to learn to do, because sometimes you'll feel guilty that I have this 1,000, this person seems to have no food, but that's all that you have. So you easily then will feel like, let me give them this, then you remain without anything. You need to know when you can give. You need to know when you can take in people. You need to know when your house is full. You need to know when you need that space as well. And it doesn't mean that you are not, you don't care about the other people, but maybe somebody else need to take care of them as well. And even when you're taking care of the people, then you also need to know when to stop, so that you're not enabling somebody's dysfunction. Maybe you agree, I will take you in for the next 2 months. You're looking for a job within the next 2 months. And when they get a job, then maybe they need to go somewhere else. So you just need to know what are your boundaries and have conversations around that and be very comfortable. Just like with muscles in the gym, initially, when you're doing things that you're not comfortable with, you feel pain. So when you say no the first time, you may even lose sleep.
Yeah, I've had to learn that one.
You tell somebody, I think you've stayed here for a while and you need to be thinking of getting another place to go and stay. Man, you can feel like you're a devil.
Yeah.
But you have to learn it. You have to learn it, because the problem is, if you don't do that, then you begin to hurt yourself, and eventually it will still affect you. You either will stop talking to this person, or you will begin murmuring and whining, and there'll be a lot of things right there, and you will mess up a whole relationship. So it is better to tell them, and they will respect the fact that you actually told them. So even if it is like, I can't help you anymore, I've been helping you with your kids, I think in the next 2 months you need to find a way of how you will sort yourself. You just need to do that. And don't feel guilty that within that period you bought yourself something.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Man, anyway, that's such a crazy thing, because You will literally forget how to, take care of yourself. It's crazy how that happens, but it happens. Anyway, so I want to ask the same question I asked Nashata, but I want to ask you in terms of how then do women encourage men to have those conversations? What's the role that women can play to help deal with toxic masculinity?
You know, the thing with societal norms and behavioral patterns is you can't really talk to someone. You can talk, okay, you can talk all you want, but we're creatures of habit. We learn through seeing. So we have to actively do it. We have to, like I just keep saying, we have to talk about it. We have to teach. Shata has mentioned before, introducing some things in school and just in the system so that we're able to grow up learning these things. When we're younger, it becomes just a normal, where by the time you're 18, you're able to tell your friend, I love you, bro, without saying the no homo part. Because it's, yeah, I genuinely do love you, bro, you know. And just to add on what CJ said, you can't, takers never stop taking. So you as the giver, you have to learn when to say, I'm not giving anymore. And something else is you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you're not able to give, what else are you, how will you, ni wewe utajiumiza. So how women and just men in general can improve the situation is by actively living it. Si tu kukuja hapa kwa TV, alafu tunaongea, alafu hii conversation inaisha hapo. Have these conversations at home, talk, do, teach. Wear those clothes, do your hair the way you feel like you want to do it. Act the way you feel like that is yourself. And this all boils down to individuality, where you need to know yourself. Because when you know yourself, then it's easier to love yourself. When you love yourself, the confidence that comes with it is crazy. So next time when someone tells you, wewe listen hizo nywele zako za umama, you'll be like, utaona nika yeye ndio ako crazy because you don't have the confidence to rock this hair the way I do. It's just about that. So love yourself, and then let's just actively live this situation whereby we're encouraging our men and our boys to be confident in themselves. Let's stop making, I know it's difficult and so one can say it's like easier said than done, but I have done it with my friends and with the men in my life, and it's very, very difficult to try and explain, unajua si lazima unyeshewe, unaweza tu buy umbrella ndio ama unaweza tu buy t-shirt ya pink, it's okay, you know. It's very difficult, especially when they're around their friends who are very deep in this toxic masculinity thing, but it's just an individual confident thing. If we grow our kids up in situations whereby they're able to learn their confidence, then nothing can faze them. They will be very confident in their emotions. They'll be very confident in saying what they feel. You know, like ata mimi, when I want to take a break from work, you know, I have to think, oh my God, what do my boss think? Atasema nini? We take a break, like, but it's normal. You have to zoea. Lazima ujiteach kusema no, I'm not coming to work on Saturday. I'm only working Monday to Friday because I need my Saturday to sleep. If there's compromise, sour, but if I'm unable to, there's no need for me to run myself dry, knowing that on Monday, it's me who's going to suffer. There'll be no productivity whatsoever. So we need to be confident and to just love ourselves enough to be able to live like this so that we can eliminate the toxicity of masculinity. Because yes, while masculinity is very strong and it's also very confident. There's nothing as sexy, as beautiful as a man who's able to say what he feels, who's able to just be himself and exist as he is, other than the influence from social media. So men do this, men, all that to me is just sounds ludicrous. It's not realistic, and it's really, really weird. I prefer when men are able to just be confident in themselves and to just love themselves. Yeah.
All right, unataka kurebuttal ama nichukue 3 tweets?
Achukua 3 tweets.
Okay. All right, here we go. 3 tweets, here we go. Baraza Kefa says toxic masculinity is dangerous because it limits a person's growth and definition of what it means to be a man. Masculinity itself is okay. Men have to be tough and rough. Boys need to be boys. Tunafaa kubaki original, especially in our roles as men. Okay, interesting point there. See, Kawi one, women with husbands are most exposed and living with this masculinity, spelling notwithstanding. Topic, you are having, single people have no idea. They just talk in theory and how it's meant to be. Well, that's debatable.
Coming for us.
Opendable opembe edika. The truth is that men are men, women are women. God created them so. Let them stay so and behave so. Well, okay.
The toxicity.
There's a lot of ways you can go there. Thank you. Gina_Thor says feminine energy in men. Let men be men. Stop trying to invent things that are not there. And Visia Agnolo, toxic masculinity is somehow imposed to the male gender by the other gender. Why would you use the pollution of frogs to determine the size of a river? We as men need not to take it as it is. And that's what you alluded to at some point there when you're saying it's used as a weapon, sometimes even by women. It's a crazy push and pull out there. But interesting, by some of those comments you could tell, and this is again brings us to social media, that sometimes people don't really exactly know understand what it is that
your shida nini. Some situations don't have an SI unit. Unaget. So what you might be considering as toxic masculinity to me might be something different.
Yes. So there's no
hakuna measure.
One size fits all.
Hakuna mtu atasema sasa juu wewe unaweza kuona feel umse kitu anasema but yeye sana feel kabisa. Unaget. Alafu the worst part of it is that if today you started talking about it, how ndio wengi kuliko people that are suffering from toxic masculinity ni wengi kuliko, and they will fight you because it is their norm. And when you start, people fear what they don't know. Watakwambia wewe unataka wanaume wanyonge, you want to make us weak. Sisi tunafaa kuwa hard. Hiyo mambo yako ya unyonge hatutaki. They will fight you from all angles. And then at some point utakao ujiambia, me as long as niko sawa, this is a losing battle. Ni ya nini ujiondoke. Unaelewa? But if we are to deal with this thing, we have to relearn who we are from scratch. I keep saying our history has never been told right. Unaelewa? And our history shows men as very toxic people. Unaget? And when you say you want to connect to your history, then what are you saying? It says you want to be toxic. Unaelewa? So you need to relearn who you are. Understand why you do the things you do. Question. Unaona mimi kama kuna tunafundishaga watu wangu ni question everything that is being told to you. Question. Never fear. Uliza, and don't do something you don't understand. Usifanye kitu juu watu wanafanya. By so asking, you learn. Unaelewa? And if you have an alternative or if you have a different opinion to that issue, iseme. Voice it. Let it be known that even if you're forcing me to do this, I believe this is what I need to do. Unaelewa? That way, next time, before someone engages you in something, they will know this one has an opinion on this. Now it will be a conversation. What do you think you need to do? Unaelewa? That, you see, when you have a voice in you telling you to do something or ask, and you ignore that voice, that is where you lose you.
You'll suffer.
You lose you and you become a puppet. Because now people control you. Do this, do that. By the time you sit down and now you want to retrace back, huyu amepotea, huyu ni doi nambadilisha. Unaget? So if you can teach children from scratch, be you.
And
question the norm.
Question norm. CJ had something to say, I guess.
Well, you know, whenever people come into a group, the mass psychology thing is that it brings pseudo personalities. As Roberta said, you know, the people, when you face them in person, there's certain things they cannot do and they can't say. Some of the weakest people that we have are the ones who actually perpetuate the toxic masculinity in public. So when they come out, they put on a personality that they don't have, something that they wish they had. And so now they have the space, they have the keyboard, and they'll get so they can be heard a bit. But when you meet them, they're some of the weakest people you ever meet. So they will always gravitate towards something that seems to empower their fantasy. Like there's certain things that are said online about masculinity and stuff, you know, how people are supposed to treat women and dominate them and stuff. And some of the guys who are the proponents of those things then will be sliding into DMs and trying to get the women, you know, while on this other side they're sharing all the stuff like, you know, the woman needs to come to you, you are the prize and all that. Then they will be sliding into DMs and trying to get the women. So it's a pseudo personality. And so we've got to get people to understand, look, let's stop faking all of this stuff. These are your needs as a human being, and it is right for you to admit and accept, I need love. It is okay to do that. I need to vent. It is okay to do that. I just need space. Okay. When you acknowledge your own needs, then you easily deal with your emotions. And it becomes easy then for your emotions to oil the machine that Shatta is talking about. Because even machines are oiled. And it is emotions that oil that machine, that keep you going. When you are dry up emotionally, that machine just fails. You break down completely. The reason we will go for a break or for a vacation is so that we can recoup. The energy we're recouping mostly is emotional energy. So it's important for somebody to acknowledge and accept their needs. And if I'm hungry, I want to eat. I'm not going to feel guilty because you don't want to eat. You know, I will eat because I'm the one who knows that I need to eat. If I'm low on energy, I need some little sugar. We need to give ourselves permission to be us by all means.
Right.
Unajua,
To be yes.
kuna kitu okay, kuna kitu Pasi amesema about wanaomuenda kwa mtandao wanataka ku advice wengine. Unajua ukiangalia tweet kama hizo upata a lot of follow, a lot of likes, a lot of reactions. Si ndio? What does that tell you? It tells you it is a cry for help from men. Unaelewa? That mostly kuna wanaume feel used na madem, na wakipata avenue ya kuvent wanaenda kuvent. Unaelewa? And when the event it becomes a fight, you don't even get what you wanted. It was a cry for help, but now it becomes a fight of us versus them. Unaelewa? So, I think kuna watu kwa tu genuine when they start these conversations kwa mtandao, anakuambia kama mwanaume, I think it is okay to want love, si ndio? But the process of wanting it also needs to matter. Una get zile wanamuona kwa stop simping, stop simping.
Yeah,
This is
like,
the kuna process. Yani decorum. There is kuna heshima fulani tu kama mwanaume kuwa nako, usijiangushe tena sana. No, kuna tu pahali.
You see,
unaambiwa hivi.
Shatta is speaking from both sides of it.
Ndio nimecheka nikianza.
He's becoming the king of double standards. But you see, the problem is, if I am having an issue in my marriage, for example, if I went online, have I gotten help?
Nope.
I haven't. So the problem is not seeking the help. The problem is going out over there and beginning to use my reality as a standard for everybody else. And just because I have this kind of a person, I make that a philosophy and say, this is how you need to deal with women. But that may not be the case. Other people may not be dealing with the kind of woman I have.
That's right.
So I shouldn't then use my experience and put it out there and say, deal with them like this. That's exactly the same thing that even toxic femininity does, where you have had an issue with a man, then you bring up that and make it a standard and say, treat men like this. We need to know where to seek help. And then we need to know how to separate issues. Then when we're seeking help, look, that crowd coming to my post will not help me. Eventually I'll have to go back and face with all.
I think it's just the validation it brings. You know, when you see 3,000 retweets, you're like, everyone is feeling like me. So in Akwanika, that's the standard truth.
I'm not the only one.
When in real sense, you need to ask yourself, okay, why are 3,000 of us feeling like this? Like, what is the root cause of all this? You know, so.
And there are also people.
Don't you think that it is also an irony that whereas then men will feel they shouldn't talk about stuff, when they find one person venting, they all come.
They all get it. because we do not have. We do not have.
But they
an avenue to vent.
Representatives.
You see, it's the same thing you're saying, that don't take yourself too low. So we tell each other that. So we are all in our cocoons, trying to be tough for each other until the day we find a prison break.
But Kamwanya, like, hey, this could be it.
Then all of us are running.
Yeah.
So the thing is, let's stop lying to each other as men.
Yeah.
Let's just tell each other, look, guys, it hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
It hurts to be broken. It hurts to be mistreated. It hurts to be taken advantage of. It hurts. And it's okay for you to accept that you are hurt. It's okay for you to expect certain kind of treatment, and we are not going to victimize you for speaking that.
Yeah.
Also, pia kitu ingine muhimu, society stop using men. We cry because you're using us. Okay, we go vent there because we are feeling mistreated. Stop mistreating us. This machine needs a rest. This machine needs a pause, yo.
Yeah.
You inahitaji service.
Yes.
Unaget, hata gari napeleka kwa service at some point. Even to like on a serious note now, like if you go online and you find men complaining vile mademo on mistreat and all that, sindio? We have gotten to a point where we have started understanding ourselves in a different way. So now we are seeing tunatumika na tunaambiwa tuache kusema tunatumiwa. Unaelewa? Lakini sasa tumeanza kuiona. Unaget? So pia society naturally believe that a man wants to change and allow us to welcome the change.
Yeah.
That is men.
Yeah.
All right, your final thoughts?
For me, it's just preaching the confidence thing. Because, like what Shatta was saying, you know, when you're being used and you are aware that you're being used, when you have the confidence, you're able to stand up for yourself and you're able to make a few changes around your life. So let's encourage our kids and our boys to just be confident and to love themselves and, again, to exist as themselves. Emotions are fine, I promise. It's okay for you to feel. It's okay for you to be able to speak about it. It's okay. Just surround yourself with people who are willing to listen. Chuja everyone else so that you're able to exist as yourself. Because if you're around people who keep saying you're new mama, you're nini, you know, you start believing it and then now you start holding back. And that's what we're going against.
Right. Yeah. Well, I hope that, you know, we've learned a couple of things here. Thank you so much for the feedback. I was told there was more about, you know, we couldn't get to all of them. But asanteni sana. Hopefully you've learned something. And like we've said, you've picked all of the tidbits. To make it, take a break, be confident, and also let's not lie to each other, man. Kani uchungu, ni uchungu na tunaumia wote. And above all, of course, make sure you seek out help if you can. Talk to somebody, don't suffer alone, like we always say here. And itakuwa tu ital tena sana. Follow at CJ Atemo across all platforms. That is CJ Atemo. At Shatta_boy on the Instagram thing, and Shatta Tiki Taka on the Twitter thing, and on Radio Citizen every month. Well, it's changing, but anyway, every Monday to Friday, 10 to 1 with QT and Ramba, and at Roberta Bobby or at www.loveandorgasms.com. Fuata pale, muji enjoy. Mungu abariki sana. Who is nani ako sound Devi? Oh, ni Steve-O. Steve-O ndio nilimwona hapa. Successful people look like you and the great Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo. Whoo!